Are you a perfectionist, and is that perfectionism ruining your life? Okay, maybe that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but maybe it doesn't feel like it. Maybe your perfectionism is really taking control of your life, or maybe it's at least keeping you from growing. If that's the case, then keep watching, because in this video, I'm going to talk about how being a perfectionist almost ruined my time on YouTube and made me quit. I'm also going to talk about some things that I'm trying and that you can try too to kick perfectionism in the ass. So let's get into it. Welcome to Happiness and Health Gains. This is a channel dedicated to helping you become your happiest, healthiest, and best self. My name is Hannah, and I'm a perfectionist. I've been one my entire life, and there's honestly not a time in my life that I can remember ever not being a perfectionist. As an artist, I was always one. I've always been one in school. As an adult, as a kid, I don't know what I was. I was not a good student. But as I've gotten older, definitely a perfectionist when it comes to pretty much anything that I do. It wasn't until I started YouTube that it really got bad and started to just kind of control everything that I was doing. Even as an artist, when I was a perfectionist, I didn't really notice it interfering with my life too much. I always felt like it more pushed me forward instead of holding me back. But something important to keep in mind is that when I was an artist, I had a lot of raw talent, and so when I started, it was fairly easy for me. When I got to YouTube, it was really difficult for me because I had no idea what I was doing. I have always had the biggest fear of public speaking of any sort. I don't really have very much experience with working with the camera. I have a little bit of experience with editing because of having been an animation student, but there was so much that I felt was against me. The other thing that really kind of worked against me was having been a really talented artist, because whenever I would create pretty much anything visually, people would always tell me how amazing it was, that I was so good at it. And while those things are really nice to hear, when you start doing something that you're really not going to probably be very good at, it gets scary. I started putting all of these types of pressures on myself and thinking that, oh man, if people see me who knew me before YouTube and knew me as an artist, and they see how bad I am or how awkward I am, they're really going to judge me because, I'm not perfect at everything. Now, looking back, I realized that, maybe that would just kind of make me more endearing because, oh, hey, Hannah's not perfect at everything she creates. That wasn't the thoughts that were going through my head at the time. When I started YouTube, I just made the conscious decision that I was going to do whatever I could to kind of like sidestep that awkward phase. So I did whatever I could. I learned how to edit, I wrote scripts, and I pretty much scripted almost all of my videos, and I was really proud of everything, and I even had it in my head that if I just give myself some time doing it this way, then I'll grow and I'll become more comfortable on the camera. The problem is that I was making not very many videos. It was taking me 3 to 4 weeks to complete a video, and I don't know if you think that's slow or not that slow, but in YouTube land, it's very slow. And because of that, I wasn't able to grow at all. I was just doing the same kind of situation over, but there was so much time in between that I wasn't really getting comfortable with the camera. And I was getting so stressed out because when I was using a script, if I messed up at all, I was like, oh, I can't have that in my video. And on top of that, it's really hard when you're using a script, especially with the teleprompter where the script is moving, to actually get back on track without having to do the whole thing over again. I was feeling a lot of anxiety, and I knew that this is not what I wanted to do forever. So once I took that hiatus, I had to take a good look at what was going on, and I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to keep doing things the way that I've been doing, or I'm never going to get back onto YouTube. That's kind of been my journey for what's been going on with me and why I've been away and what I'm planning to change. But I also promised you some tips that I'm doing and that you can try too to get your perfectionism in control. These first 2 tips came from Nice Kid 76, and if you haven't seen his channel, check it out. It's really awesome. He's got some good stuff. But he gave me 2 pieces of advice that I want to share with you. The first is to set a time limit. This is something that I am starting to do, and I think it's going to be really helpful. Now, it might not be something that will work with every type of perfectionism, but if you are a perfectionist where you're always procrastinating because things aren't perfect yet, or you just need a little bit more time, and then all of a sudden time gets away from you, this is a great thing to try. What I love about setting a time limit is that you're really having to critically think. You're also taking chances, because if you have a time limit, then whatever happens is going to happen, and it might be good or it might be bad, but something's going to happen and you're going to have to stand behind that. And it's also going to make you want to improve. Number 2, recognize that perfect is different depending on what stage or level you're at. So as an artist, I would say that I'm at a pretty high level. And because of that, my perfect is going to mean that I'm really having to strive to make it as pristine, as beautiful as it can be. Or if I'm trying to grow my creativity, just trying to really push myself. But as a YouTuber, I'm at like a level 1. I'm not at level 0 anymore because I do have some experience, but I'm still not very high up. And so for right now, my perfect just means creating content and maybe trying to get consistent. But what I was doing before is I was trying to be at like a level 100. I was trying to do everything, and that just doesn't work. So determine what level you're at. If you're new to this, whatever it is, then be kind to yourself and take your time and do one thing at a time. And then the third piece of advice is to practice, practice, practice. When I was an artist, I drew so much. For 6 years, all I did was draw pencil portraits, and I got really good at it. But if I was only ever doing it every once in a while, like I'm doing with my YouTube, or have been, then I never would have gotten better. I never would have gotten to the level that I eventually became. And so practicing is going to be really important with whatever you're doing. If you're wanting to be a public speaker, then take every opportunity that you can to get up and speak. If you're a musician and you're just starting out, then practice as much as you can. And like in my situation, I'm not necessarily going to have time to post YouTube videos every day, but that doesn't mean that I can't still be making practice videos every day. So this was my experience with perfectionism. I wanted to make this video so that I can be honest with you guys about what I've been going through, why I've been away for as long as I have, and I'm going to be back. I'm not going to let my past experience define how I move forward. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are looking to become your happiest, healthiest, best self, and you want to see videos by kind of an awkward person. So thanks so much, and as always, have a happy, healthy, and wonderful day.